With a lot of news moving the stock market, we are looking decently green today and some tariff relief. And I'm going to be telling you guys some plays that I made. I did have a losing trade. I'm going to be talking about it, how I scoped it out and everything like that, and some of the winning trades, and some supports and resistance, and some decent trades for tomorrow. With that being said, we're going to start off with some news. So first off, we got, the US markets moving pretty decent. SPY's up 0.6% right now, and the Dow is up a decent amount. The European stocks also mirrored the US stocks, indicating like the DAX showing positive momentum and the US showing positive momentum too. But yeah, some things on US tariffs, what we're going to be talking about a little bit more. But recently, Trump imposed 25% tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico, and China has heightened trade tensions, leading to market volatility. But with that being said, we did have some relief that we're going to be talking about a little bit later when we pull out those news articles. But with that being said, the Secretary, Howard, hinted at possible compromises on tariffs with Canada and Mexico, which boosted investor sentiment, which we kind of seen a little bit of an uptick today. We do have a 30-day delay on the tariffs on vehicles. There's also a call with GM. We got those news articles in a second. We had some earnings. So CrowdStrike Holdings, cybersecurity firms, stock dropped 8.3% after issuing a weaker than expected earnings outlook despite strong fourth quarter results. We had the Walt Disney. So Disney announced plans to lay off 6% of their ABC News and Entertainment Networks unit staff as part of an ongoing cost-saving measures. And Best Buy, their shares saw a slight recovery after a significant dip caused by concerns over tariff impacts and inflation. So with these tariffs kind of getting a little bit, a little bit of relief, we're seeing some green in the market, finally. And we kind of seen kind of like a dip in SPY, or not a dip, a bottom in SPY. We're going to be talking about it a little bit later. We got to see a bottom in SPY that we're going to be showing you guys a little bit later too, but maybe not 100% a dip, but it kind of looked like one. So we're going to be going over that a little bit later too. But with that being said, analysts, so Peter, prediction, I ain't going to say his last name. It's like Berzin or some shit. Basically, his research and forecast a challenging year for the SPY 500 or S&P 500. I don't know why it's SPY, but the SPY overall, basically, potentially dropping to 4,200 due to anticipated recessions. I don't think we're going into a recession, but with that being said, that's what a big dog is saying, so we can believe him or not. But sectors like consumer staples, healthcare, and utilities, and to increase investments in bonds, cash, and gold to kind of, be ready for this recession if we do have one, which I highly doubt. With that being said, let's talk about some news. But first, let's go to the most active stocks. So of course, NVIDIA, we were just at 120. I think we dipped down to like 112. Now we're at 116 and it's on a strong buy. I think below the 115 is a decent buy level, honestly, for your long term. Ford moved a decent. I think Ford and GM moved decently with that good news with the tariffs. You did have Intel move down 5% and Palantir move up 5%. So Palantir might be coming back to a decent level. With that being said, we do have the 1 month basically for U.S. automakers from new tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada. So this is what you've seen like GM and stuff like that come into play. With that being said, he did have a call with GM, Ford, on potential auto tariff delay, but you guys seen that news already. So keep that in mind. We did have Intel defeats shareholder lawsuit over losses, $32 billion plunge, and Intel's down 5%. We've seen that earlier. With that being said, let's look at the overall market. So basically, Bitcoin, we have some decent news with Bitcoin. So tomorrow, they're going to be holding like the first ever meeting for Bitcoin to be basically the USA loading up on Bitcoin. So we did see a big push. We were kind of falling today a little bit, consistently down, but then we got some good news with tariffs and stuff like that, so it brought it up. With that being said, a stock to look at is MSTR. Unfortunately, man, I got into a put option. Around, I think up here. It was up at first. I thought it was gonna keep falling, but then it went up, so we sold. We sold out. I think we took like a 300 loss on that one. Had a little stop loss. That's why stop losses are good to have, in case you take the wrong trade. With that being said, I was kind of scoping out a trade like this where it falls consistently, so that's kind of why I was trying to hold a little bit longer. So yeah, so I was kind of hoping on a little sell-off, a bigger sell-off today, but we kind of didn't have it because we had some decent news. I think they're going to be issuing dividends this month too, so keep that on your mind too. With that being said, MSTR. Look at MSTR to the upside tomorrow, especially with that meeting. Especially before the meeting, you might see a jump up and down, and then depending on how the meeting goes, honestly, you see it spike up or spike down depending on how Bitcoin moves. But MSTR was moving the best today. Coinbase does move decently too. We did see it have a big sell off, like it sold off, unlike MSTR. Like it came down, like MSTR was like down, but then it like maintained. Um, MSTR kind of looked like it was moving with the SPY today more, but honestly, I don't know. SPY and then a little bit of Bitcoin. Like whenever Bitcoin went up, it would go up, but if Bitcoin went down, it didn't go down. It's kind of annoying. Not even gonna lie. But being said, Coinbase moved more with Bitcoin today with that like kind of bearish trend, and then once we got good news, it went up. So I think Coinbase and MSTR are two good stocks to look at for that meeting. We might even see Bitcoin break that 100K if we get great news. That being said, you can also look at IBIT. IBIT is basically just an ETF that moves with Bitcoin. I try and tell you guys about it all the time, so you guys can know. ETF, I think EFT actually is. Wait, no, fuck it. But with that being said, you can look at this on the upside too, or if Bitcoin starts falling, you can see this on the downside. This is just a good one if you guys want to play option plays or just get Bitcoin basically cheaper. Moves pretty decently. I think at that $57 level is like that 100K level on Bitcoin. I don't know if we can see it though, but I think recently we hit like 82,000. This is where that 53 was. And I think 56 to 57 is that 100K level. So keep that in your mind and on your radar. With that being said, if we look at the 4-hour time frame with SPY, if I can find it, lost it. But with that being said, if we look at the 5-hour or 4-hour time frame with SPY, you see this dip right here. We kind of seen like we bounce off that 576 level. We can say 576, round it up. But 576 is kind of a bottom for it right now because we bounce on it multiple days. Not only multiple days, but like we have a bunch of 4-hour time frame, 4-hour candles that bounce off of it here and also over here. So with that being said, I think this is a good level to look at to the downside if we keep on breaking down below. We are pretty close to it still. I mean, we were down here, but then with that recent spike up with tariff relief, we've been looking pretty decent. But with that being said, I think this is a decent bottom to look at right now and a decent level to look at too in case it falls below this. So keep 576 on your radar, because if we can fall below 576 and then complete like all the way down to 574, we might be able to go down to the downside even more. With that being said, I think this is a decent bottom to look at for now because we bounce off of it here and then back there too. So I'm not saying it's a complete bottom, but I'm saying it's a good level to look at. And I think it's like a bottom point and or bounce off point. You might see it bounce down there again and then bounce up again. So if you guys want to play some call options, you guys can play this. And if it holds pretty strong and it starts bouncing up, play some calls. But with that being said, we did make some plays on SPY today. This SPY was kind of looking decent. Normally you see it bounce between two levels. I deleted my levels, but basically today we seen it bounce between these two levels right here, the 579 level to the 576 level. With that being said, you'll kind of see it open like that too. I think yesterday we kind of had the bounce on these levels, and then if you can play it right, you can play it either up here and buy some puts and or buy some calls. With that being said, you can either, depending on how the news looks though, because if you see a bounce, if you have good news or bad news, you know that it's going to break 1 point. So depending on which side you're on, if you buy it down here and then it breaks above that, you can make a decent amount of money. But even if you buy it down or up here, play some put options, you make a decent amount of money to the downside. But just make sure you sell maybe around this level or a little bit above these levels. But with that being said, we were bouncing on these levels, and then I don't think we had any bad news. I think it just kind of just bounced down below, honestly. I think we had a meeting. I forgot who it was, but there was a meeting, and I think that's when it bounced below that. And we did get some bad news in that meeting, and I think that's when it bounced below. So if you would have bought like a put option, held it a little bit, and then seen that it didn't complete 100% back up, you can probably play another put here, honestly, too. But that being said, you could have played a decent play and then wait until bottom out, got the good news, ride the news up, and then it's still going up now. But with that being said, with tariff reliefs, we're going to be seeing the market go more green. But with that being said, I will look at SPY to the upside, and I will be looking at the 585 level next. I think 585 is a decent level to look at, and then coming back up to the 590 level and be looking at the 590. If we can break above that 590, we can be at decent levels and kind of maintaining back to like kind of normal. I think normal is probably gonna be like 590, like normal price range, and that's when the market's gonna be moving pretty decent, and we can go back to kind of normal. But I think with the tariffs being kind of official, it kind of sucks how it keeps getting postponed because you can't really you keep on getting the same volatility with the tariffs. But I think once we get the tariffs official, we can see the market kind of start moving better, I guess, or more predictable rather than how it is now, where it's just really volatile with just getting new tariffs, new tariff news. Because once the tariffs are official, we're not really going to be getting like new news or anything like that. The market's going to be moving neutral, and all the stocks are just going to balance out to the price range that's going to be at. With that being said, next stock we're going to be looking at is Apple. We did have a big sell off with Apple, and it was keep on falling until we got this good news with the tariffs. That being said, I think Apple, we might have another sell off tomorrow, maybe, but I'm not saying look at the trends, but just be very, very careful getting into Apple. With that being said, to the upside, I will look at that 235 first, and then going all the way up to that 238 level, to that 239, and then going all the way up, testing that 240. But if we don't get up there and the market doesn't look too green, go back to the downside. So I'll be looking at that 234 to the downside, and then if we break that 233, and then down to that 231, and then down to that 230. We did kind of have a little bounce off that 230, but it kind of bounced off the 229. And then we came back, but that's kind of just with good news. If we probably didn't get that good news, we would have probably still bounced below that 229, probably going down to 227 to 225. NVIDIA is looking pretty decent right now. We're kind of jumping up and down. We kind of got two key levels that's really bouncing off of. So I will look at that 117 or 118, and if we break past that 118, we can be looking a little bit more bullish and going up to that 119. That 120 is going to be a key level too. So once we break that 120, we might even see NVIDIA coming back up, and then you can look at like 125 to 130. To that downside, if we do break that 115 level, we can probably break below even more, and then probably come back to these lows down here. So you can probably watch that 115, like I said before, and then 114, and then 110. 110 is going to be key, and then if we break below that 110, probably even see 109, and then once we break that 109, we're going to be testing some new lows. So 105 to 100 is what I'll be looking at for NVIDIA. Palantir, we're up like 5% on Palantir. I think this is a good stock to look at because of how much is up basically. We're kind of like testing the level that we bounced off of yesterday. With that being said, I will look at this $89 level, and then if we can break above this 89, we can look at 90, and then hopefully come back up and then start coming back up, breaking some more levels like 92, 96. 95 too, but 96, and then that $100 level. And if we can break above that, we're going to be looking bullish. I think stocks are maybe coming back. Like I said before, we might have hit a bottom, but it's kind of rare. I think a bottom for Palantir is 79. But with that being said, I do recommend having your patience and expect downturn too. Tesla's looking okay, but we kind of had, consolidating a little bit. Tariff news didn't really move it too much. It kind of did, but kind of didn't. It kind of just moved us back to the pre-market or open levels. So with that being said, I think Tesla, honestly, I think we just need better news. I mean, Tesla's a decent stock. It's just, I think it's all Elon Musk related, like why it's kind of not doing so great right now. But I think once we see everything, open up, like the robots is going to be insane. Nobody really realizes how insane this company is going to be. But with the robots, the self-driving vehicles, all that competition with Uber, it's kind of going to be insane. And I think this stock is, like everybody else is saying, like a $500 stock. I don't be overall bullish though. I think it's going to fall and then come back up at least 300 to the 300 level, maybe even see it at the 400 level. But honestly, just think Tesla, you just need patience until you see like great news and then it starts rallying up. I think Tesla is that stock that you can just join the hype, honestly. Like you don't really have to be like too like early with Tesla, because I think once it starts going up, you might see it go up like $20-$30, and you can join in then, and then it might go up to like that 300, and then maybe even go to that 400 within like a week or two. That's the thing with Tesla. It's kind of like it moves really, really fast, honestly, to say. Google has been moving pretty decent, but at the same time, we had that sell off, and then it started coming back really, really strong. It's like the pre-market levels, pre-market highs to say. But with that being said, Google, I would recommend looking at that $75 level because we kind of bounced off it a little bit earlier. But if we can break that 75, we can see it probably 76, 77, and then 180. Google is pretty bearish overall. I'm pretty bearish on the stock, but I think right now it's kind of underpriced. I think we can hit that 180 level and then maybe balance around that 180 for now, like 180 to the 185, and then just balance out. Just because of, a lot of people are kind of removing it from their long terms and stuff like that. So I think Google, you got to be a little bit more patient with. But honestly, tomorrow I think we're gonna retry that MSTR play, but to the upside this time. But hopefully we can get some good news with that Bitcoin meeting. I don't think I'm gonna play it for the Bitcoin meeting, but I'm probably gonna play it when market opens and just see what happens. Just see how it really moves and stuff like that. But I do recommend looking at these levels. Be very, very careful. Just like today, man, we learned to use our stop losses. Because stop losses help you out a lot. So make sure you guys have stop losses set. But yeah, smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. You guys can comment down below any questions that you guys have. I can try to answer it as fast as I can. Let me just do some research and shit like that first, and depending on what it is. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Comment W if you guys watch to the end, and peace out.